Hi all. In previous lectures, we have discussed about the different kinds of channels in LTE. In this lecture, we are going to have a discussion on downlink OFDMA radio resources. As you know, downlink means it is the communication link between your base station or eNode P to your user equipment. Here, both downlink transmission and downlink reception happens. Remember this. And in LTE, what we know, other point is downlink and uplink use different transmission schemes due to different considerations. In uplink, we use SCFDMA instead of OFDMA because of maximum power to average power ratio is high in OFDMA, whereas in SCFDMA it is low, and hence your user equipment power consideration will be very less. Okay, the radio resources allocated to different user equipments are orthogonal to each other, which means there is no intra-cell interference. That is the concept of OFDMA, right? Next, the following uh, explanation describes the frame structure and the radio resource block structure in the downlink. Let us see what is this frame structure. So frames are the common time domain elements shared by both downlink and uplink in LTE. And there is a typical parameter table given here. Let us go through this and try to understand what are the parameters in downlink transmission. Say there are different bandwidths. Okay, 1.4 megahertz, 3 megahertz, 5, 10, 15, and 20 megahertz. Let us consider the example of 1.4 megahertz channel. This channel, in this channel, you are allocated with 1.4 megahertz frequency bandwidth. In that bandwidth, 1.08 megahertz will be useful and 0.32 megahertz will be used as guard band, which accounts for around 23% of the actual bandwidth, and the sampling frequency used for this is 1.92 megahertz. It is a multiple of 3.84, multiple or submultiple we can say. Here it is 1 by 2 times 3.84, which is chip rate used in UMTS in 3G technologies. Okay, and FFT size is 128. Out of this 128, only 72 subcarriers are used. 128 FFT size means what? It is number of subcarriers. If you can go for module 2 and see how it is mapped. Only 72 subcarriers are useful. Other subcarriers are used as pilot carriers or for some other uh, application. Number of resource blocks are 6. What are these resource blocks? We are going to see next. And number of CP samples, that is cyclic prefix, which is actual guard band so as to suppress the intersymbol interference. There are two types: normal cyclic prefix and extended cyclic prefix. We will discuss both of these. Okay, and similarly for 3 megahertz there are different parameters. For 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, 15 and 20 megahertz, what we can see is FFT size goes on increasing and number of occupied subcarriers also increases, but guard band percentage is same for all these bandwidths, and it is maximum for 1.4 megahertz bandwidth. Okay, now how these values are calculated, this sampling frequency and all is calculated. TS is the basic time unit for LTE, sampling time. Okay, for an FFT based OFDM transmitter receiver with FFT is equal to 2048, that is maximum. Normal sub carrier spacing is defined to be delta F is equal to 15 kilohertz. As in the first module only we have discussed, there will be 15 kilohertz bandwidth for each subcarrier we use in OFDM. Now the TS is calculated to be 1 divided by delta F into N into FFT, which is 1 divided by 15,000 into 2048. It will be around 32.6 nanosecond. This is the spacing or the sample time. Now downlink and uplink transmissions have the frame of duration TF. TF is given by this equation. Okay, this also previously it was there in wireless communication, which is been used over here. And the each frame in downlink and uplink transmission will have 10 milliseconds frame time, and it is divided into 10 subframes. Each subframe divides into two slots of zero point 0.5 millisecond. This is the general skeleton of any frame in LTE. Okay, it is having 10 milliseconds of length. In that 10 slots will be there, or subframes will be there, and each subframe will be divided into two slots of zero point 0.5 millisecond. For flexibility, LTE supports both FDD and TDD modes. FDD is of frequency division duplexing, and TDD is time division duplexing. Most of the design parameters are common to FDD and TDD in order to reduce the terminal complexity. Why they are used? So as to have flexibility and as well as to support efficiently usage of bandwidth. There are two kinds of frame structures. One is for the FDD mode of operation, another one is for the TDD mode of operation. Frame structure 1 or type 1 will be FDD mode of operation. Let us go to the figure and see. So this is the frame structure of type 1 for FDD. What you can see is one radio frame duration is TF is equal to 10 millisecond. In that one there are 20 slots, 0 to 19, 20 slots. Each slot is of 0.5 millisecond. Two slots make a one subframe of 1 millisecond, or it is called as transmission time interval. And now let us examine each and individual slots. Considering one slot, what we can have is, in one slot we can have up to 6 OFDM symbols if a normal cyclic prefix is used, and each OFDM symbol will have a length of 66.7 microsecond. It is because what we have is our delta F is 15 kilohertz. 1 by delta F will be 66.7 microsecond. Okay, so in one slot what we can have is 7 OFDM symbols, and each having 66.7 microsecond. And for normal cyclic prefix, the time duration calculation is like this. For the first cyclic prefix, the length will be calculated as 160 into TS, which is 5.2 microsecond for the first OFDM symbol, and for the consequent OFDM symbols it will be 144 into TS, which is 4.7 microseconds, which all together fill the entire slot of 0.5 millisecond. For extended cyclic prefix, we have a duration of 512 into TS, which will account for 16.7 microsecond, which is used when there is more reliability requirement or ISI is very severe. Then so as to avoid that ISI, we are going to use extended cyclic prefix with higher duration. Correct? In extended cyclic prefix, what we have, OFDM symbol timing will be same, but number of symbols are here only 6 because of the size of cyclic prefix has increased. Okay, and another thing is OFDM symbol, one OFDM symbol can have many bits of information. It depends on the the modulation technique you are using. Depending on the modulation technique, whether it is QPSK, whether it is 16 com, whether it is 64 com, depending on that, number of bits of information in the particular time slot will be we will be going to have. Okay, the same has been discussed over here, all the points. Yes, here also you can see this calculation, and in some cases the CP length will be varied. It is not fixed. Okay, it is for 20 megahertz we have taken as example 512. Sometimes it can be used as 256 also, which provides the CP length of 256 by this value. For 10 megahertz it will be 1.67 microseconds. In case of a subcarrier, special subcarriers sometimes used, instead of 15 kilohertz we can use a subcarrier of 7.5 kilohertz. There only a single cyclic prefix of length corresponding to 3 OFDM symbols per slot will be used. I hope you have understood the frame structure of type 1. Now let us move on to the frame structure of type 2, which is been applicable to the TDD mode. And it is designed for coexistence with legacy systems such as 3GPP TD-SDMA based standard. That is, this particular frame structure is used so as to support the backward compatibility of 3G networks. Okay, here the frame structure is somewhat different, though the one radio frame maps for 10 milliseconds. There will be only uh, there will be two half frames of 5 milliseconds. This is first 5 millisecond, this is second 5 millisecond. In the first 5 millisecond there will be frames from 0 to 5 milliseconds. 5 to 9 subframes will be the second half of the frame. Now again one subframe will be of a duration 1 millisecond, which is considered as transmission time interval, and the slot time also which same, which is 0.5 millisecond. And there is a very important difference between type 1 and type 2, that is the special frames. These are the special frames. The subframe 1 will be a special frame used in type 2. It is having three different fields. One is DWPTS, that is downlink pilot time slot, uplink pilot time slot, and guard period. Okay, downlink pilot time slot is a shorter downlink subframe for downlink data transmission, so as to indicate the coming data is downlink, the subsequent data is downlink. Its length can be varied from 3 to 12 OFDM symbols. And uplink pilot time slot, it indicates whether the data is of uplink or downlink. Here it is, second one is uplink data. Third one is guard period. This guard field is used to provide the guard period for the downlink to uplink and to the uplink to downlink switchover. The same frequency is been used for uplink for some time, then it can be used for downlink for some other time in the particular time slot. You can see over here in the same frame we can use switchover between uplink, that is from user equipment to the E node B, or from E node B to the user equipment, that is downlink. So for that switchover time we are using this guard period, and this has to be for only 1 millisecond, and the complete structure of 0 to 4 5 subframes is repeated for the next 5 millisecond. Okay, and there are different subframe structures, uplink downlink configurations for 7 different uplink downlink configurations. Let us see that. What we can observe here is there are two types of downlink to uplink switch point periodicity. One is 5 millisecond periodicity, another one is 10 millisecond periodicity. In 5 millisecond periodicity we can observe there is two special frames, that is first and sixth one, sorry, the second and seventh one we can say with the index. And in 10 millisecond frame we have only one special frame. This special frame is what? This one, this frame. Okay, and another thing is subframes 0 5 and the field WPTS are always reserved for downlink transmission. 0th one, 5th one, everywhere you can see they are reserved for downlink transmission. Also downlink pilot time slot are used for downlink transmission only. Again, while uplink pilot time slot and subframe immediately after the special subframe are always reserved for uplink transmission. You can see after all the uh, yes is what? S is special frames. All the special frames you can see there is a uplink transmission data. This slot is used for uplink transmission. Similarly over here after S what we have is the uplink transmission of data here also. Okay, this is about different uplink downlink configurations. 7 different configurations are there, and how the uh, frame structure for that, whether the frame is configured as downlink or for a special subframe or uplink transmission. I hope you have understood this. This completes the downlink frame structures of type 1 and type 2. In the next lecture, we are going to have a discussion on the physical resource block.